and welcome back. Brett, I am going to leave it to you to introduce the next career mentor. And I did mute you during the break, so there you go.
That is okay. First of all, I just want to say thank you, Kemmy, for taking your time out of your day to speak to our students here. Kemmy is a sneaker designer at Kreations by Kemmy, which that is your own business you've started, I assume, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so just kind of want I'll let you introduce yourself and a little bit about yourself and your business, and I'm excited to hear about it, and I'm sure the students are too.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Kemmy, I'm just going to get your slideshow up for you right now.
Okay.
Can everybody see that okay?
Well, you got to go up to the beginning.
Oh, sorry. There you are.
I'll just tell you when to click over. My name is Kemmy Smith. I'm a sneaker artist, sneaker designer, and I make custom shoes for people. So that's my company name, and that's what I do for a living. You can click over. So yeah, I make custom sneakers for athletes, everyday people. This can range from painting shoes to completely building a shoe from scratch. So I'm more like a cobbler, artist, alchemist, if you know what I mean. So I do a little bit of everything. You can click over. So my clientele list includes Chavez Young from the Toronto Blue Jays. I did like 2 pairs of cleats for him. Uh, we met through Instagram a while back. Good guy. And that's just like some of my clients I do work for, like a lot of celebrities too, a lot of local people. You can click over. I did a pair of shoes for Jill Saunier. She plays for Team Canada hockey. She's a good friend of mine. I think we did 3 pairs of shoes for her. Uh, I think that was about 2 years ago when I first started out, I think. But that was a while back. You can click over. I did a pair of shoes for Buddy Hield in the NBA. He plays for Sacramento Kings as well. So this is just like a list of like some of my clients I have. I'm working on some more shoes for him right now. He's going to play in a pair probably in February or so for the All-Star game in the 3-point contest. So we're just working on that right now. You can click over. The key to success, I'd say, is just mastering your craft. Um, these are handmade out of denim and lambskin. So like these sell for like $1,000. So I think the key to success, anything you do, is mastering your craftsmanship, because it doesn't matter where you're from, where you are. If you're good at something, people are gonna find out about it. For example, like Cristiano Ronaldo, he's a great soccer player, right? He was from a small town in Portugal, and he went on to be one of the best players in the world, right? So it doesn't really matter how you start, but it's how you finish, and you have to master your craftsmanship. You can click over. So these are some of the brands I collaborated over the years. I collaborated with TSN, Crapper Tech, Vinyl Donuts, Eastlake, Designer Shoe Warehouse in Bears Lake in Dartmouth. I did a collab with Backwoods, and I had a documentary come out in September. I made the Atlantic Film Festival, so you could probably stream that. Um, you click over. So my education, I did I don't know if some of y'all are involved in the IB program. I did the IB program. So I did HL Art, HL Geography, HL English. So I got a 7 in HL Art. And I think this was in 2011 when I graduated. I did like SL Math, Biology, and French. And I went to Dalhousie. I started off doing community design, and I didn't really like it. So I transferred to NASCAD in a Bachelor of Fine Arts and Interdisciplinary Arts. So what that means, I did spatial design, graphic design, I think product design and interactive design. So it's a little bit of graphic design, a little bit of architecture, a little bit of designing products for everyday uses, and just environmental spaces. So I did a wide variety of stuff in university. Yeah, a degree isn't really necessary, I would say, for my field of work, but it can definitely help you in what you're doing in terms of the graphic design and the skill level, I would say. But having a degree is very important because I can always find a job using my degree. But I decided to make my own business instead because I couldn't find a job after I graduated university for 8 months. So I kind of had to make my own business. You can click over. So I grew up in Miami. So my first like I've been an artist, I guess, like my whole life. My uncle was an artist. So I was painting motorcycles in grade 11 with my uncle, as you can see there in the top left and top right. So that's kind of how it started. I do custom cleats for people, sneakers, a lot of athlete clientele. I did work for a bunch of people locally in Halifax as well. A lot of news reports came out about me, but I just kind of started in grade 11, just drawing all the time and working with my uncle who was a motorcycle artist. So that's some of the bikes I painted over the years too, growing up in Miami. And you can click over. So how did I get started? I guess like how did I get my brand out there? I just use social media like crazy, Instagram, a lot of 12-hour days. Sometimes you don't even see your family. A lot of tours across Canada, a lot of trade shows. YouTube has definitely helped my business a lot. It can definitely give you a lot of exposure. I got like a couple thousand views on some videos I've put out. A lot of sales contributed from that. Facebook, people always resharing your work. I did a pair of shoes recently for someone. I don't know if you guys know him. His name was Tristan Reese, who had passed away 3 years ago. I gave a pair of shoes to his mother as a Christmas gift because she lost her only son. And it got reshared about 4,000 times locally in Halifax, across all the high schools and stuff too. So like, and I reached about 10,000 people on the post. So just social media and just engaging with your public and trying to build a brand and a business at the same time because you have to make money from it. So that's just like what I do for a living. I make custom shoes. I create stuff from the bottom. I try to create a lasting impression on what I do because like every shoe has a meaning, every shoe has a purpose, and that's just some of the stuff I do. I look forward to in my business. You can click over. So these are some of the projects I did over the years. Like I think about in the summertime, a few more like throughout the months. And as I say again, like you just have to master your craft and you have to be really good at what you do and you have to set a high standard for yourself because anyone can paint a shoe, but how much can that person actually make from that shoe, right? So I say just continue mastering your craft, learning as much as you can, and building your skill level. So that's just an info, like a brief like display of what I do for a living. So I have like a cool job. I make custom shoes for a living. So if you have any questions, I guess you can just forward it to your teacher. I can just answer it.
Oh, so Kemmy, I think we have lots of questions for you. I thought Lee was the coolest person on the show today, but I'm not sure. I read a really interesting story about you, and I don't know if it's correct, about how you started and that you were working in a barber shop or something, and you started to talk to somebody about shoes that you created. Like, how did you actually get your first sale? How did this actually come to be?
I was working at a barber shop when I cut this guy. His name is Taquan Zimmerman. He played for the Halifax Hurricanes, and he was like, he came to my house to get a haircut because the shop was closed for Christmas, and he noticed all my artwork and stuff like that. And he was just like, "Man, you're hard. Why don't you make me a pair of shoes?" And then I was like, "Oh, okay, sure, why not?" And I made the pair of shoes, and it just went like viral across the Halifax Hurricanes. And I started doing all the Hurricanes like shoes and stuff like that when they were playing Halifax. I did shoes for like Antoine Mason. Like his dad played in the NBA. I did a bunch of shoes for Clint Scales, a few other guys too. So I pretty much did like 7 players off the team, and that's when like it turned into a business. It was never really a business at first either, right?
It was like a passion, a pastime that you had until somebody said, "Man, you should be selling this."
Yeah, it was like a little hobby, I'd say, and then just like turned into a business because like I think the quality was so good and they were so impressed with it, and just grew like crazy. Grew over the last 4 years.
Amazing. Brett, what do you have for Kemmy?
Yeah, so we have a question in the chat actually. We're having questions pouring in, but do you do any designs on the Nike SB Dunk shoes, and what are your average prices?
I do a lot of a lot of work on the SB Dunks. It depends on your budget, right? If you say you have a budget of $3,000, we could probably accomplish a lot more because I can get some alligator skins, I can get some python. We could do a lot more. But if your budget is only like $200, I mean, you can't really do much, right? But minimum it starts around $250 to $300 if you want something done. I got a lot of SB Dunks I'm working on right now. I don't really post everything I'm working on. Some clients only like the work out there, but I'm doing a pair of Dunks for this guy in LA right now. I think that he originally bought them for 3,000 USD. So he shipped them over to me. So we're working on a pair of those right now, just restoring them and adding some little flavor to them right now, I can say.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I also paddle like with shoes on too. I think I might need to reach out to you to get myself a pair, because that'd be your designs look amazing. But the
Appreciate
next
it, man.
question is how long does it take to work on and complete a pair of shoes, compared from like building it from scratch, versus putting the artwork on an existing pair?
Right now, building it from scratch might take about 20, 30 hours because you have to build that shoe like how Nike made it in a factory, right? And you're doing it by hand. Like the denim shoes I showed you, that's handcrafted from scratch. So like painting might take about 3, 4 hours, depending what it is, or 5 hours. But definitely building shoes might take about a week or two, almost 30 hours that week.
And the next question is how did your education help you with building your shoes? And do you work alone, or do you have other people working with you in your business?
I have a few helpers every now and again that come out. My education, it helped a little bit, but it wasn't. It was just like I think the education, I would say, like it was important, but it just was the guideline to follow to achieve your goal, because I think 70% of NASCAD students have their own business. It was just the blueprint, but you still had to put the work in to achieve that goal of owning a business, know how to pay your taxes, know how to do branding, marketing. Education played a little bit of it, but definitely helped fine tune my skills, I say, because one of my favorite professors, she worked on the Titanic. She did all the scenes on the Titanic, all the paintings,
Wow.
and she taught me how to draw. So it can definitely help you depending how you use it, right?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. And the questions are pouring in. I think this is the most
Oh,
questions
really?
I've seen for a mentor yet at one of these events. But what is the biggest shoe you've ever worked on?
The biggest shoe I worked on probably was a size 15. It's this college basketball player. I think his name is John Frank. I think his name is Franco Miller. He plays for Florida Gulf Coast. He wears like a size 15. So I did a pair of shoes for him. So that took a long time.
And the how many days does it take to design a pair of shoes? Or probably more to rephrase this question, like kind of like what's your turnaround time? Like if someone was to give you a pair of shoes.
Depends on what you want done. Depends on your budget again. Like if you want me to really pull some magic in a week, you gotta pay a little bit more, right? But normally the turnaround time is about 4 to 6 weeks. The design time can be maybe an hour, but some nights I might sit in the studio and not get nothing done. I might just plan for about 8 hours just to achieve something, right? So it depends on the shoe and depends on the design you want done. Like, you know what I mean? You could sit down for 6 hours and not get nothing done. You could sit down for 6 hours and you could actually design a shoe, but it takes a lot of time that goes into these things, right? So depends on the shoe and depends on the design, I'd say.
Awesome. Well, I'll just wait for a few more questions to add on to the chat here. But the next question that I have for you is, can you tell me a bit about like what your work-life balance is like, being like a business owner and having like starting up a business yourself?
Being a business owner is probably the hardest thing you're gonna do in your lifetime because number one, you're not guaranteed a paycheck. That's the hardest thing. And it's not a 9 to 5, it's a 24/7. I probably work about 12, 15 hours a day. I gotta spend time with my family. That's probably the hardest thing, I guess. Because sometimes, like, I might sit in the studio for 15 hours and not even see my kid. I might come home at 3 a.m. when she's sleeping, right? So it depends on a lot of sacrifices. That's what they want to tell you about business as well, too. And so much that goes into it. And, like, you don't have the funding sometimes as well. So you have to really push yourself to achieve more. Like, the more shoes you do, the more money you'll make. But it's very hard for sure, I'd say.
Yeah. And I think I asked this question, but just do you work alone in this business, or do you have other people working with you or for
I
you?
normally work alone. I always hated group work growing up in university and in high school, so I try to work alone. I have one of my friends that comes in every now and again. I'll show him some cool stuff, but not really. I think me and him are gonna do a lot of shoes this Christmas, I'd say. We got like a lot. I think about 15 orders to do already for Christmas, so I'm gonna need some help with that, I'd say.
And the I'm going to put these two kind of questions together, but can we ask about like salary and like knowing that you own your own business and cost of supplies and stuff? Like, is your profit based on like an hourly wage or?
Well, the profit's based on definitely a commission wage. So, like in business, I tell every young person, I'd say try to make at least $200 a day, and you can definitely live comfortably. I'd say for sure. Keep your expenses down. Um, Financial planning is key. Make sure you have good credit because you really can't get a loan if you have bad credit in a business. So that's one of the hardest things a lot of my friends face as well. But it all depends on your work ethic. You can sit down for 12 hours and make $1,000 in a day if you try, right? If you don't have the skill level, it might take you 18 hours to make $500, right? You might sit down for 12 hours and then make $200, right? So it depends on your skill level and depends on the projects, I'd say. Like, so I have like a lot of businesses I actually own. So I make money from YouTube. That's one of that's definitely a stream of revenue I have. I have an online course you can buy for $500. So that definitely helps, especially like you're not really making money until you make money in your sleep. So I can wake up $1,000 in my account selling two courses. So I have a course you can take to learn how to make a pair of shoes. So I have YouTube, I have courses, I do commission work, I do a few speaking engagements that are priced. Um, I do tutoring sometimes too for drawing. I have a lot. I do paintings for people as well too. So I have a lot of different side hustles within the same business, I'd say, and it definitely helps to like towards an income. And I have a few endorsement deals as well too with Crap Protect. They send me like a check every month too as well. So there's a few things I have that actually pay me money from the business.
Awesome, thank you. And I think this is a really good question and one that I had in my head myself. But like, what's your creative process when you're coming up with a design? Like, maybe kind of like go through like when somebody gives you kind of like what they want in the shoe. Like, what's your kind of like plan of attack to go through it?
A lot of research, a lot of shopping. We sit down, do a couple Zoom meetings. I use my iPad. I have the app called Procreate. I have the pencil too I design with. I have lots of books, a lot of reference material. I got like in my library on my MacBook, I probably got like over 1,000 shoes designed right now too. So I like my own catalog and my own like body of work. So I have a lot of reference material, a lot of books, a lot of research. I still have access to my dial libraries and stuff like that. So I might be reading a book. Like one of my clients right now, he wants a pair of shoes done. He wants to do some crocodile skin. He wants to make it seem like Crocodile Dundee. So I've been researching a lot of books on Crocodile Dundee, what he wore. We just finished a Joker pair of shoes, so I watched the Joker movie about 3 times. So we had to bring in some materials from the States, get it done. So just research, a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of in-person meetings, and just like a lot of planning goes into it, I would say.
Awesome. And I think we have time for one more question. There's one more from the students, but if there's any other questions from the students that come in later, if you'd be okay with that, we could forward
Yeah,
them
man, shoot it my way.
goes along to the students. But how do you determine what project to work on when, like, for example, that someone who's a professional athlete, shoes get priority over an average person's shoes?
I try not to do it, but sometimes it happens because the professional athlete doesn't have a budget, right? So the local person might have a slim budget, and they're just giving me a hard time to work with, right? But the professional athlete, he has a blank check most of the time too. He's like, just charge me whatever. You want $1,000, I'll pay the shipping and everything too, and he'll just send me a wire transfer, right? So it depends. It happens a lot, but the celebrity clientele definitely pays you more and it's less headache, right? Because that's we just dealing with like their managers too, right? So that definitely plays a role, I'd say.
Mhm.
Like local
Awesome.
people, they give you a hard time, man. Like for example, there's one lady who was messaging me every single day about a pair of shoes, and she had no money to get the shoes done. You know what I mean? So
Awesome. Yeah, well, it's just about 10 o'clock now. I just wanted to say thank you very much for your time. Like, I think everybody on this call here really enjoyed listening about your business, your experience, and what you do on a day-to-day basis. And I think I might be reaching out to you personally as well, too.
definitely, man. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it today
I'm gonna
as well too. I never got this when I was in high school.
That's great. I'm going to cut in, Kemmy. There's one more question that we'll get to in just a second before we let you go. Thank you, Brett, for managing that chat. Kemmy, I think the students and the teachers may be interested in the documentary that you mentioned. Can you talk to that and just briefly and direct them as to how they can get their hands on that if they want to watch it?
I will send you a link in about an hour. I have another meeting at a bank in about
Okay.
2 hours, but I'll send you that link as soon as possible. And it was in the Atlantic Film Festival. It was crazy because it sold out within the first hour. I didn't know it was going to sell out. So
That's amazing.
definitely, it's like just like a 5 minute film. Me and my friend made it because he's like, man, you're the number one artist in Canada. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, your body of work is crazy. You did work for so much celebrities, and you live in a small town like Halifax, and no one knows about your work. You know what I mean? You have guys shouting out in the NBA. You have guys, big companies like Backwoods sending you free stuff all the time. Like, and you have such a big presence, and no one knows about you. He's like, you just made a documentary, and just turned out to be something cool. We filmed it over 3 months, and it was in theaters. So I'll definitely send you a link in a bit.
That's super. And you certainly made about 425 new friends this morning, Kemmy.
Oh,
So there's some good exposure for you too. And if you could just squeeze in this last question for Tara,
no
do
problem.
you use the 2D and or 3D tools in Procreate?
I use a little bit of everything. I use Illustrator. I use Procreate. I use InDesign. I use Photoshop as well. The Procreate app. I use another app called Be Funky. I use the Eraser app. I use about 10 different apps to create my product as well too. So I can send a list to your teacher as well if you need help with that. And I learned most of that skill at NASCAR as well. So I can definitely send you a link to your teacher if you need any help with that stuff.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Kemmy. We are so grateful to have you join us this morning, and we wish you all the best. I'm sure your name's just going to get bigger and bigger, and we're going to see more and more of you out there.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. If you need any help or anything, just send your teacher an email. I'll respond as quickly as possible.
Super. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
See you guys later. Have a good day.